promised I would go live tonight, so I'm on here. There's nobody on here yet, but again, I don't like talking to nothing, so I'm just gonna talk for a few seconds till we get some people notified. We might have 10 people tonight, we might have 50, I have no idea. Let's just see what happens. So for anybody that's watching this after the replay, my name is Jonathan Lewis. I am a psychic medium. I've been doing this work for about almost 20 years now. Oh, hi Tracy, we have one in. Hi Abu. Hey Rach. Oh, thank God. That's great. How's everybody doing? I keep saying when I start the lives on here, there's nobody on here. And it's kind of funny because I'm just like talking to nobody, but I know that they replay this immediately, or they'll put it, they started from the beginning. I can't like edit it in any way. So I just start talking to nobody. Hey Sharon. Hey Pam. Lisa. Tracy. Hi Angela. I'm good. I just got done reading for the night. I'm up by my daughter's college, and tomorrow's her white coat ceremony. So I drove up here Thursday yesterday. It's like a 7 or 8 hour drive, and I had readings tonight. So I'm reading tonight. They're all hanging out, and then tomorrow's her ceremony. Then we're gonna hang out tomorrow night, and then I'm driving back Sunday, and then I'll be reading again on Monday. So no, Lisa, I don't stop. That's one of the biggest complaints I get from people that are close to me is like, do you take a break? I'm like, well, not yet, no. I bought John's book after you talked about it. Cool, Tracy. I just finished it. It's good. It's really good. I was like really happy to see. I actually am in the book. I was actually in the book. I didn't realize that. They told me I was in the book, but I didn't. I thought maybe it was something like silly, but I didn't remember. But I helped them on one of the cases a little bit, so I got my my mention, which is kind of cool. So how are you guys doing tonight? Hello, Nicole. Yo, IDCM. So if anybody on here is new, I have to say this. My name is Jonathan Lewis. I am a psychic medium. I've been doing this work for close to 20 years. I've been on TikTok a lot. I do other social media apps, but things are changing quite quickly. And I feel like I am much more comfortable on like a YouTube channel. So I would like to go live here more often. I am working on trying to get you guys up here, meaning like if I want to pull somebody up live, because that was the thing about TikTok that was so cool. We got to demonstrate our work and how we can do it. So to me, that's like if you want people to see the work, demonstrate it. So when I was on TikTok, I would pull people up live, read them, and I think that was the coolest. So that's why I'm on here. The only thing about YouTube is I can't pull somebody up live. I am going to do a reading tonight in the comment section. So if you're on here, stay on here. If I keep freezing, I don't think it's me this time. I'm in a hotel and I got really good Wi-Fi. So does anybody feel like I'm freezing? Like not cold, but like I'm stuck in. Haven Breeze in the house. At the hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Very perceptive, Angela. I'm actually in a Holiday Inn. That is hysterical. I'm good? Okay, good. Hey, Jenny. So what's going on, guys? Give me something to talk about. I'm so lax on this. I love the YouTube. I sound like a grandparent. I love the YouTube. Guided by my peeps. If construction and psychic medium. Composing doesn't work. You can always be a comedian. Well, thanks, Lisa. That's what my mother calls me. The comedian. I've always found that regardless of what you do, humor makes things that much better. Also, humor makes things that much easier. So even when I do my readings, you can probably tell from my voice, I've been reading all night. But we had some heavy stuff tonight in a couple of the readings, and humor does make a difference. It makes things a little, when somebody gets very emotional in a reading, it pulls them out of the reading. So if you're ever having a reading, don't get in, my job is to snap people back into the reading. So if somebody gets emotional in a reading, I'm like, stay with me. Like, don't lose me here. Like, I need to keep you in the reading, because if I lose the person that I'm reading to the emotion of what they're feeling, everything gets like jarbled up. So the flow is just better when everybody stays focused on what needs to happen. And that's one of the reasons why we'll tell people, if somebody just passed, you might want to wait a little while, or if you're not done, like, or at least through a part of the process of the grieving process, you might not want to have the reading yet. If you're very hyper-focused on one person, or you have blinders on, like, I just want to connect with that one person, that's usually not how it'll happen. Somebody else will come through first that could pull through who you want to hear from. But you have to be open to who can come through. That's the difference. So mediumship is like lightning striking. You can't make somebody come through. You just can't. Whoever shows up has to be acknowledged. That person can pull through who you want to hear from. And they might do it with a name, a date, what that person may have done for a living, something that's going to trigger in you to go like, wait a minute, hold on, I think we have somebody else here. And then like a medium's job would be to back that up with additional information, okay? Yep, facts are everything. And I always tell people when I start a reading, it might sound a little clinical when I start. It might be boring even, but it's because it's factual. It's like, we need to know who we're talking to, and we need to know we have them, and we're not just talking about them. So the way they're gonna show us that is by giving us information that you can validate and say yes to. So the more information I get, the more validation I get, the more the link kind of like grows, and the frequency kind of gets tighter. And it lets me know that we're not just talking about that person, we actually have this one coming through. And I'll tell people all the time, it'll feel like if somebody's talking a lot in the reading, and then they'll kind of lean the mic over in my head, like somebody else might want to come and say hello, but that person doesn't let go of the mic. They'll show me like, I'm running this session, but I'll let other people in to say hi. So I'll see that. Or they'll hand the mic over. Once they hand the mic over, that means I have somebody else talking, and I want to validate that by getting information that makes sense around that person or the person I'm reading. So if they give me enough info, it lets me know like, okay, we've now successfully taken the mic, took it from this person and handed it to this one. So now that one's talking. Otherwise, you could just say whatever you want. You could say like, oh, they're bringing somebody else in, now they're talking. But I need them to show me that that's the case. The worst thing I could do is take information, feed it back to you, not know where it's coming from or not feel where it's coming from, but it might be right and accurate, but eventually we'll end up at a dead end. Because if I'm not where I need to be with it, there's no point in them giving me any more of it. Because there's usually a message somewhere in that reading. There's always a message. And it might not be like, hey, I love you, or I want you to know I'm proud of you and what you're doing with your kids. That's not the message I'm talking about. The message is, what are the lessons for you? What are you here to learn? Or maybe in that moment, what is something that you need to learn so that things become a little easier for you? So there's always some sort of message that comes through in readings. I also realized that while we're on this platform, that they're showing me that they're holding some people's messages, so they're probably not positive, but that's okay. Somebody just asked me that the other day, like, what do you do with people that like don't believe? Or I'm like, I don't really give a shit. I've been doing this way too long now. Like, I feel bad for people that don't believe in something other than this. I just feel bad for them. I don't care anymore what they think. I don't have it's just like this. Hey, only one Shirley. Yes, I'll survive. So what do you guys want to know? What do you want to talk about? Guided by Peeps says, you're the teacher, we're the students. That would be the biggest mistake I could ever make, just so you know. I find myself to be a student every single day. I don't feel like I'm ever going to be done learning what I need to learn in this lifetime, and I do believe that the second you feel like you're, the teacher and everybody else is like the students, you're screwed. I'm always learning to better my craft. I'm always pushing myself to go to the next level of things and information. I feel like sometimes if I get lazy, I get annoyed with myself. Like the reading might be, there's times when people say to me, oh, thank you for the reading, this was great. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was basic stuff. It was like, tapping off of this, tapping off of that, and getting information that comes through. But to me, that's like old school now. Like I always want to push to be better at what I do and get deeper into information. So that to me is why I, keep going. And it's why I do a lot of readings. Pam, I'm 64 and still learning. That's right. You never stop learning. It's why I'll tell somebody who's 80, it's never too late to learn the lessons you need to learn. Oh, it's too late for me. I'm too late. It's too late. I'm too old. I'm like, no, it's not. You're never too old. You're never too old to learn what you need to learn while you're here. So you can't have that attitude of like, I'll wait till the next life. No. You learn it here. I don't care if you're in your deathbed. As long as you learn that lesson before you leave here and really truly learn it, then that's something you will hopefully not have to repeat in another lifetime. So you take that information with you, and that goes into the collective, the whole of your soul on the other side. That's right, Whoopsie, you're never too late. Glad to hear that, Sharon. I'm almost 80 and still working at it. It's the right answer. Okay, let's see if I can answer this. Lisa, since the soul reincarnates, does it have the ability to communicate simultaneously with loved ones from past lives, if that makes sense? Yes, because when you talk about the soul reincarnating, it's only part of the soul. It's not the whole soul. This is not all of us. So when we go to the other side, we're not just floating there with our wings going like, hey, I'm done. It's just a part of us that becomes part of the whole again on the other side. So imagine just a lot of little bubbles of us on the other side inside the big bubble. That's the soul, that's the whole of us. And one pops out, plays the role of you in this lifetime, hopefully learning lessons. I also think this is not the only place we go. So I think there's a lot of little bubbles of us in different places. That's my opinion. But when we pass, we go back to the whole of the soul. So yes, our thinking, thought process, our energy, our source is much bigger on the other side than we are here. This is just a part of us. So I do believe that we have access to all of that, yes. Don't think linear, don't think human. We only have the option of being us here. But on the other side, we're a lot more than that. More than they'll ever let me know, that's for sure. Say to myself, oh, a lesson learned, but then I think so Abu means Abula, if I said that right. I have aha moments and say to myself, oh, a lesson learned, but then I think, oh shit, what is left to learn? Oh, there's a lot left to learn. And I want to be clear about something too. When you learn a lesson, this is not like being in grade school where, you take math for a semester, grade school, let's say college. You take math, a math class in college, you get an A on it, and then you kind of push it to the side. You're like, oh, I got an A in that class, I'm done there, and then we move on to the next class. That's not how these lessons work. These lessons repeat. These lessons show up every single day. Our job is to show our guides in the universe that we've learned that lesson, and therefore we push it aside and move forward. But that lesson, let there be no mistake, that lesson shows up every single day in your face. Your job is to go, nope, I've learned that. And now it becomes a non-issue, okay? Just waiting for some questions. Rach, yep, happening to me now. Happens to all of us, Rach, every one of us. I catch myself sometimes going like, oh, damn it, I missed that one, or why didn't I listen, or I didn't pay attention enough, You get very frustrated. Jolie, how do we get with our guides? You might want to rephrase that, Jolie. How do we connect with our guides? That sounds better. I'm just teasing you. There's a lot of different ways of connecting with our guides. But the key to connecting with them is really about being in balance. It's about making sure that you have your areas in your life under control and everything's kind of moving copacetically smooth, all right? So when we talk about that, we're always referring to relationships, finances, health, work situations. We want to make sure we're keeping all of that in the place that it needs to be so that we can be more open for what's coming through. Because if we're hyper focused on everything that's happening in our daily lives as humans, and we're kind of like over here, we're over there, and we're getting pulled in different directions, we don't have the opportunity to kind of look up energetically and see like, okay, what am I feeling? What's coming through? We're so focused on the daily routine. So when you have your relationships under control and things are kind of smooth there because you're doing what you need to do, and you have your finances under control, it kind of releases you on an energetic level to be open to what can come through for you. And one of those things is about connecting with your guides. It's very hard to connect with your guides when you're frazzled 24/7. And unfortunately, most people are frazzled during the day. Like things are just hyper sensitive when it comes to what's going on in your lives, right? There's a lot going on right now, especially in the world. So I don't expect anybody to be like, fine with everything, because nothing's fine right now. Everything is all over the place. So if you want to connect with your guides, I would say the first place to start is there. Making sure the human side of you is in a very centered and balanced place. And then you can look up and make those kind of connections. There's a lot of different ways to connect with your guides. I'm not going to get into that tonight, but I will be doing that. So if you guys are on here, I'll be talking about this kind of stuff. So Tracy, when you are reading someone at a live event, can you see their aura or see others' auras in the audience? That's a good question. Do I see their aura? I guess if I focused enough on it, I could. I never really thought of it that way. I never really look at auras. I'm not an aura reader. I can see auras around certain people, but for me, it's more about what they emit energetically. Like I'll feel that. So clairsentience plays a big role for me when it comes to recognizing other people or what I want to see in them or what I don't want to see in them. That would be through a feeling and an emotion thing for me, less aura related. I know aura sounds nicer, and it's like, ooh, they have a great aura, or their aura is really bright. Because people have said that, they talk about your aura, and I'm like, stay out of my aura. That's my aura. Get out. But when it comes to energy, which is what we're all based on, you can really feel what you consider to be positive or negative. I'm sure you've all have met somebody once in a while in your life where the first time you meet them, you go, I don't like them, or I don't know about that person. Then you get to know them a little bit, and you start to realize, oh, maybe I was wrong. They're kind of nice, and they're saying all the right things, and it feels kind of positive. And then 6 or 8 months later down the road, they do something stupid that reminds you of the fact that you should have paid attention to what you were feeling the first time, right? We've all been there. Hold on, I gotta shut this AC off. Hold on a second. Okay. It's a little loud. Gabriella, do you have an extremely good mind's eye? Hyperphantasia. I could tell you this. When I was first starting my work or in this field, somebody who thought they were special decided to open my mind's eye. I was already doing the work, and they put their hands on my head and they kind of breathed a certain way, and then they kind of pushed me backwards and took credit for opening my mind's eye. I laughed my ass off. I thought that was hysterical. I was like, you open what? It's like, I don't think that's up to you to do that. I don't think anybody can open up anybody else's mind's eye. You have to be the one to do that, or kind of open up to the work in some way energetically. But it's important to have the mind's eye in the right place when you're doing this, yes. Intuition is everything. If we're anxious. Rach, if we're anxious natured people, how do we stay grounded or centered? Practice, meditating, recognizing it when it's happening. They're showing me right now when you're saying that, I'm seeing like an airplane flying, and an airplane has to have their wings to fly. If I clip one of those wings or damage one of them, the airplane has no choice but to spiral downward. Has no choice. You can't say like, I'm gonna still keep my plane in the air. Nope, if your wing's clipped, you're going down. So if the wing gets clipped, the plane hits the bottom, crashes, but then eventually can turn around and work its way back up again. So the trick would be to catch it before the wing gets clipped. So when you start to feel yourself going out of balance, stop in the moment and be like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to let this happen. I have to pull myself back into balance. A lot of people don't do that part. They start to go out of balance, and then the negative side of things starts throwing more on top. So I'm sure a lot of you have recognized in your own lives when something happens to kind of throw you out of balance a little bit, it's almost like everything gets piled on at once. It is designed to do that, because that's what the negative wants, guys. It wants you to feel crappy all the time. It feeds off that energy. So the littlest thing, a phone call, somebody saying the wrong thing to you, somebody doing something that's not nice, right? That kind of makes you feel like pretty crappy, or taking advantage of your kindness in some way, right? Or slapping you in the face with it. Those are things that are designed to pull you off balance. When that happens, you spiral, you go down, you keep going down, because other things start happening, other things start coming up, and it's like getting slapped in the face 24/7. So the goal is to recognize when that happens, to go like, no, 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 that's not a me thing, that's a you thing. I'm not allowing that in my energy or my field. We only have anxiety in this world because of other people, because of other things that affected us, things that we grew up with, trauma, the things that bring that anxiety around. That's why we have anxiety, or else we wouldn't have it. If everybody was taught to be balanced and centered growing up and to be secure with who they were, nothing would give you anxiety. You wouldn't have it. So you can blame the people in your life on some level for that. Now, there's other things that play a role in here, like ADHD, OCD, things like that, that play a role in that. But there are ways to keep that in control here. You might have it and you might be dealing with that, but recognizing where you need to be in that is what saves you. I have a daughter with ADHD. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. But she's learning to be a certain way and recognizing that that's not helping me. That's not making things better. So I'm not going to say that you can cure your issues around ADHD, because it's something you live with. It's who you are. And I've learned to recognize that's who she is. I'm not going to change that. But she's learning how to cope with that or deal with that on an energetic level. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, so you have ADHD? Okay, yeah, ADHD is rough. It's a tough one, And there's a lot of things that come along with that. And I've learned all those things are and what they are. And learning to kind of like counteract that on some level with her. And confidence is a big one. Like pure confidence. Self-value plays a big role with that too. Like knowing you have ADHD and not letting it bother you. Like if you can't do something, don't have the shame around it. Like it's okay. That's the part we would work on. Like not being like so hard on yourself because that didn't get accomplished, or avoid the big thing that you have to do that day by doing a bunch of little stupid things that you don't need to do, right? ADHD. But being okay with that and knowing that it's part of who you are. The problem with it is people without it usually expect people to be a certain way. They'll be like, what's their problem? Or why do they act this way all the time? Or why are they gonna talk so much? Well, they have ADHD. They can't help it, it's who they are. So not letting that affect you, knowing that it's their issue, not being able to deal with it, kind of releases it from you, if that makes sense. Yes, Pamela, I'm very aware of that. For women, that can be late diagnosis because menopause amplifies ADHD. Yeah, my daughter's in med school, and I have two daughters, and they get very irate about the medical field around women, and that it wasn't like till the early 1970s that people actually started looking at women in a different way about what needs to be treated and how it needs to be treated. Because everything that I've seen so far up to this date is when there's an issue, take this, take this pill, or take this hormone, and then you go, like, okay, well, what, is everybody the same, that you're just going to give everybody the same thing? Everybody's different. I feel like there's so many things that are not dealt with or even discovered when it comes to women and their bodies. I know I shouldn't be speaking like that, but I'm only speaking from what I heard, not my experience. I think it's kind of important to talk about it. Thanks, Pam. Pam Lamb. All I ever say to my girls is, I don't think it's fair to be a woman in this world. I don't think it's fair that women have to go through this, and this. I don't think it's fair that men don't have these issues, and men don't realize that, yes, hormones do affect people, and hormones do make things different. You ever see a guy on the shot when he's doing lifting? The freaking rage, right? Well, that's hormones. Well, imagine you don't have the option to take that shot. That's what I try to tell guys. Imagine you don't have that option. That shot's every day, no matter what, whether you want it or not. You're gonna take that, muscle building hormone, and it's gonna create rage in you all the time. And you can't control that because it's your hormones that are doing that. Like, women have that every day, and there's nothing they can do about it. So, no, I don't think it's fair. You seem like... well, thanks, Megan. They would agree. Somebody asked me something around anything. Let's see, off topic. Oh, thanks, Rich. Yeah, she's one of those people that took a little while to get in. She busted her butt to get into med school. She wasn't somebody that, was super A student all the time. So it took her a few years to get in, but she's in, and she's kicking butt. So, very proud of her. So Tracy, have you ever heard something in a reading that you were scared to repeat? No, because to me, things come up in readings for a reason. It's always information that people need to hear, or it's something that can come through. And if I were to get in the way of that, I could stop something else from happening. There's plenty of times when I went to go say something in a reading, and I went, no, I'm not going to say that. And then the person I was reading says it. I'm like, shit, if I had just allowed myself to not get in the way of that, that would have helped them, because it would have came through organically, as opposed to me now trying to catch up with it. So I don't fear anything that comes through in readings, because everything's happening for a reason. If I were to fear that, that would get in the way of my reading, because then I'm not objective anymore, and I'm more biased about maybe how I'm going to look or what's going to make me feel like. It's not about me. It's about the person I'm reading. So they'll say things to me, and I might see something or get something in a reading that I think is horrible, or like, oh, I can't say that. But it has a different meaning for the person I'm reading. And they'll go, oh, wait a minute, I know exactly what that is. Don't worry about it. So no, I don't let any of that stuff get in the way. And I always tell people when I'm reading them, do I have your permission to speak freely? And the answer has got to be yes. If it's not yes, then I won't do the reading. By the way, I have to bring this up. I do have 4 spots left in my October Zoom group, just so you guys know. The 2 September ones are sold out, but I have a few spots left, and I mean a few, in my October Zoom group. It's like October 15th. It's 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's 3 hours minimum of straight mediumship reading, okay? It's a 10-person group. I make sure I get through everybody. I just do it just how I do it. But if you're interested in doing that, I have no way of talking about how to do it on here other than giving you the location to go look for it, okay? If any of you guys are on TikTok, it's easy. Just click the Stand Store link in my bio and it'll come up on the screen. If you want to know how to get into the group, go to Stan Store, stan.store/psychic Jonathan Lewis. And it'll take you right to my page, okay? And then you can go on it there. There used to be a place on here where I could actually type too. Like I could type also. I don't see it on the phone though. It must be on the computer. I think there's only like 3 spots left, if I'm not mistaken. Well, thank you, Serena. I'm gonna say that because Serena's like, I've done it a couple of times. He's the most legit medium I've ever met. Well, thank you. I will take that compliment. My goal is to read everyone and to make the connections that need to be made. So that's why it's important. And when we're doing a group, it's kind of cool because in a group reading, I tell everybody in a group, like, you're all family tonight. So anybody that's in a group, obviously if it's a private, it's private. But if it's in a group, you have to have a group mentality. So if you're looking to absolutely connect with that one person, I would suggest not doing a group. I would suggest doing a private. If you're open to who's coming through, then I would say be part of a group event, okay? And again, to get in a group, just go to Stan Store. So like stan.store/psychic Jonathan Lewis, just the way I spell it. If you don't know how I spell it, go look me up somewhere because it's JONATHAN and then LOUIS, not LEW, all right? So if you go there, go to that website, you'll see all my stuff for like private readings, groups, things like that. Or you can just go right to see, that's the thing. I don't have my group events on my website. It's strictly on the Stan Store link. And hopefully this page is gonna grow. I mean, I usually announce when I'm going live on here through TikTok, and it's like 3 or 4 times the number of people. I'm starting to not do that because I want it to grow organically. So I'm not going to tell people when I'm going live here from another platform. I'm just gonna go live here. So that's an advantage for the people that are following me here because hopefully you guys get notified when I go live here and you'll know what's going on. Okay, this is great. Echo Throttle. Is it easier for you to read people in person or on a Zoom? What is the difference for you? 0, nada, nothing. No difference whatsoever. I haven't done an in-person reading in 10 or 12 years. Everything I do is over the phone. I don't even do Zoom readings. I do phone readings. I don't need to see the person when I'm reading them. I just need to hear their voice and make sure they're here. I can even do speakerphone. Like, I don't have a problem with that because the connections are fine for me. Energy is energy. It doesn't matter if it's in front of you or 3,000 miles away, it's still the same energy because it's energy. It's not about the person or being there. So I would say a lot of times when somebody's home in their own house, sitting in their couch, comfortable, those readings run a lot smoother than actually the ones where somebody's right in my face. Because when they're in front of me, they have like this expectation level of, like, I made the effort to be here. I've trekked across the country to be at this reading, so therefore I need it to be this, this, and this. And they don't work that way. It has to be what it needs to be. So when somebody's home or in their comfort space and they're not making like an extra effort for the reading, they're more open to the information that's coming through, and it kind of helps things to flow. Again, piercing the veil, information flows. If somebody's like this during the reading or they've got their arms crossed energetically for me, it's like thud. I used to do live group readings around the country pre-COVID. Since COVID, I've gotten really used to doing Zoom stuff. Maybe someday I would like to go travel and do group readings again, but I gotta say, I'm really enjoying the privates. Okay, Megan, how can we remain open for readings? Have no expectation. When you go for a reading, stay really open. Anybody you're tethered to has the option of coming through in that reading. That means family members that you knew, family members that you didn't know, family members that are connected to your family members. Anybody that's tethered to the family has the option of coming through. The thing is, the factual information that comes through will kind of like decide where that goes and who that is for you. So the more information that comes through, it kind of narrows the column and lets us know, yeah, we're talking to that person, okay? Yeah, knowing your family history is key. That would be awesome. Knowing what needs to be said, meaning like, if you walk into a mediumship reading without knowing anything, you're just like sitting there like, Joe Moron, and you're just waiting for stuff to come through, you're gonna go like, nope, I don't know what that is. Nope, I don't know what that is. Now, a lot of times people go for a reading because they want to hear how much their mom loved them. I understand that part. I get it. But there's no way to validate that that's mom, right? So knowing that mom passed from the heart attack, but was also dealing with diabetes at the same time and had an issue with her toes because they used to cross over. Yeah, that's my mom. Oh, who's Mary or Marie? Whatever. That's my mom's middle name. It's information. It validates the mom's coming through. So the more you know about your family members, the better. Your reading goes much smoother when you know more information. Also, it can bring in other generations of people that you may have never even would have had in a reading because you now have information in front of you. Having that information in front of you makes it much easier for them to come through because the medium is going to go, well, I'm seeing this, this, and this. Well, like, oh, wait a minute, that's my great-grandfather. So as much information as you can get history-wise around your family is a big plus. Staying very, very open to who needs to come through, not what you want, but who needs to come through in the moment, very, very important as well. And being open to information. Saying no helps nobody. And I don't mean you can't say no, but if a medium's giving you information around something and your immediate answer is no, like before they even finish saying what they're saying, I'm gonna say you're way off with that because you didn't take the time to think about all the people that you're connected to. It's just an immediate like, no, I don't have that. Like, are you sure about that? Because if I take the time to go through that and ask them to put me where we need to go, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times they'll actually bring us to who we actually are talking about. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. Now I remember who that is, or now I know who that is. And the goal is for the medium not to get flustered around that. Like, you could say no to me through an entire reading. I'm not going to care. I know what I get. I know why it's coming through. If you can't place it in the moment, I'm just going to say, make sure you write this down. Got hundreds of emails of people after the fact recognizing what that was after they talked to their sister-in-law or after they talked to their brother that they weren't talking to for a couple of years, or another family member. It's like after we had that conversation or that meeting, yes, now that makes sense. But in the moment, it doesn't. So if you're getting a reading, don't get flustered. Don't be like, no, why isn't this making sense? Just be like, I'm not sure what that is in the moment, but I'm writing it down. That keeps everybody in the right place in the reading, okay? All right, cool. Good question. I'm going to do one more question, and then I'm going to try to read somebody. We got 67 people in here. Woo, woo. My guide said it's not going to grow unless you go on, so they're right. Unless I go live, it's not going to happen, so. Let's see, I'm just waiting for a decent question. Let's see. Can I tell you how relaxed I am on this though? It's crazy. On TikTok, I don't feel relaxed. I feel like I'm waiting to be like attacked by people. I know there's a lot of hate watchers too. Like people that do the work, but they have like burner phones, or they watch behind the scenes, or they, like you can feel that energy. They don't think we can, but we can. That's why we do this work. It's like you could feel it. It's like just a yucky energy. Yeah, much less chaotic here, Tessa. Do I ever do predictions, Serena? Not really. It's not one of my things. I mean, it can, but it's not my thing, Like in a reading, things can come up and I'll say, watch out for this, and then it happens. So yeah, it happens all the time, but I wouldn't say like I go out of my way to predict things. Okay, AGA, do those on the other side ever transition again to another other side? Yes, I'm a very firm believer that this is not the only place we go. You know, I'm on an app called Evolve Plus, and that's John Edwards' app. And I did a live on there one night, and I was talking about how big the universe is, right? And just to get across our solar system, our own galaxy, our own Milky Way, our own solar system, our own galaxy, would take 200,000 years at the speed of light. Just our one galaxy, 200,000 years. And in that galaxy are billions of stars with billions of planets around them. Just a speck in the sky, just a little top of a pin speck in the sky when you're looking at it. That's our solar system, that's our galaxy. Not our solar system, our galaxy. So there's billions of galaxies on top of billions of galaxies out there. Are you gonna tell me that this is the only place that we could possibly go to learn lessons? You don't think that the universe is working like overtime to make other things happen, that there's other planets we can go to, that other parts of us on the other side are now living lives in other places? No, I believe it's much bigger than this. So yeah, that's a good question, I like that. To think like singular and linear, I think is stupid, because that's what we are, we're human. We live every day by day, month by month, year by year. But on the other side, we can go past, present, future at any time. There's no limits, there's no boundaries. So think much bigger than this. This is small potatoes. Kevin Young, have you seen the spirit in real life? Not really. I'm not one of those people. You know? I wasn't like, 12 years old seeing spirits floating outside my second floor window. I'm not somebody that walks in somebody's house and like sees a dad figure sitting in a couch or something like that. I don't have that. I'll feel it. I might get it in my head or describe it, but I'm not seeing it. I very rarely see anything. Sometimes on the corner of my eye, I'll see something. But I think sometimes when people talk about that, they're kind of, let's just put it this way. There's a lot of things that can come out of your brain and out of your head. And I'm not saying that it's the case for everyone, but there's a lot of things that are not normal that come out of people's heads. And I think there's a lot more mental illness in this world than there are anything else. I think it's a very untapped area that does not get a lot of attention. So when somebody starts talking about spirits and energies and everything like that, it has to come from a place of balance. If you know me, you know I'm a grounded person. I don't walk around going like, oh my God, there's spirits everywhere. If I'm working, I'm working. If I'm not working, no spirits. No things floating around, no things showing up out of nowhere, nothing scaring me. I'm a just regular guy doing his regular job. When I work, I open up energetically. But there are people walking around in this world that are just open 24/7, and they're seeing this and seeing that, and I have this happen, and I see angels and whatever, blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure if I buy into that most of the time. I think a lot of times that's fabricated or they're not right. Something's off. So mental illness can be a deceiving thing when it comes to spirit and energies, because those are things we can't prove or see, right? So the only way we can prove this work is by validating it through factual information. So if I'm talking to you and I'm getting factual information around you, then yes, I can believe that. I can buy into that. But if somebody's just walking around saying like, oh, I feel a spirit, and it's just like, no, I'm not buying into that. Angels represent religion. Spirit guides represent spiritual. You can call them whatever you want, but to strictly call them angels religiously and refer to certain angels on the other side means it's religiously biased. Religion does not play a role on the other side. It's a man-made thing. Religion is man-made, and it is manipulated, and it's used for power and what it needs to get out of it. It doesn't mean it can't be good. It's just that it's based on what men decide it should be. Therefore, it's not reliable. Because 1 minute it's used for good, and the next minute it's used for gain or power. So how can we rely on that? I said what I said. And the more spiritual you become, the less religious you become. It's just a normal thing. It just starts to shift. There's definitely a power dynamic there that alters. All right, cool. You know what? While we're here, I'm going to do a reading. So whoever's watching, there's 60 people on here. I don't see 60 people making comments. So if you're on here, put who you would like to connect with. Put mom, dad, son, daughter, whatever. It doesn't mean I'm going to connect with that person. I'm going to take my glasses off for a second so I can't see. It doesn't mean I'm going to connect with that person. It just means that I'm going to do my best to make that link or connection, okay? And I will hopefully pull them into the reading or hopefully pull them through. If I don't, stay open. Sometimes somebody will say, I want to connect with my mom, and I'll have their dad come through, all right? But I'm going to be very straightforward. I'm going to open up to whoever it is. I'm not going to automatically say it's the person you want to connect with, but for the purpose of being on social media, I am going to say tonight, please let me know who you would like to connect with. Mom, dad, grandfather, grandmother, spouse, whoever, okay? Remember, names are used. Names are very important in readings. They use this to move us around. Sometimes used to validate information. Dates are important. Birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions that might be coming up around you. Or, again, somebody's current age. Things around numbers that make sense. Factual information. Health issues, incidents around passing. Great way of coming into a reading. If somebody had a particular health issue and that's the first thing they're showing me, is because it's going to trigger in you to go like, wait a minute, that's my aunt. If that's the case, my job would be to back that up with additional information so we know we have that aunt and we're not just talking about them, okay? And I would say lastly, current events. It's my favorite. It was all night tonight, current events all night tonight. So again, there's nothing more, I think, kind of cool. I know my English is a little funky right now, but current events are cool. It's like, they saw that? They were there for that? Yeah, they saw that. Which means they see everything you're doing, which means that's kind of cool, all right? So current events are their way of kind of letting us know that they're around, they're seeing things, they're part of our lives. They will always be part of our lives. They will never leave us. They don't leave us, okay? If you're not feeling them around, that's a you thing. I'm not saying it's a wrong thing, but it is a you thing. Your job would be to get better at that. And if I read you more than once, because I won't know unless I ask. I'll say like, hey, have I read you before? Oh yeah, you've read me like 3 or 4 times. I'm gonna say, well then you better pay really close attention to what's happening, because your job is to get better at this too. It's not just about the medium proving the work. It's about the medium doing it for the right reasons and helping you to make your better connections on your own. So that becomes the teaching part. So if I've read somebody more than once, things start to shift around the readings, because the goal is to get you to be able to make those connections on your own. Okay? All right. Let's just pick somebody. Kelsey, first one I saw. Kelsey Costa. So this should be easy, guys, because, and I don't mean the reading, I mean this part. So Kelsey said grandma. I need everybody else to stop typing now. Okay? I need everyone else to stop typing because it's already picked. It's Kelsey. I need Kelsey to write back yes in capital letters. Kelsey wrote hi. It's just the thing I do. Okay, Kelsey just wrote back yes. So Kelsey, I'm gonna try to make a link or a connection with grandmother, okay? The way that's gonna happen is by information making sense for you. So if I have grandmother, which I'm not saying I have yet, that's how this is gonna work, okay? You can say no to me, I have no issue with that. If I ask you to place something, place it. Don't just write yes or no on something. I want you to write yes or no first, but if they're showing me where it goes, you can confirm or validate what I'm getting, okay? Remember, dates, names, birthdays, anniversaries, health issues, incidents around passing, current events, anything they can use to validate that, okay? Kelsey, the first thing I'm getting, I do have a mom, hold on a second. So that's a distinct feeling, guys. It's like female, male, female. Okay, so that's, and older. So it's like mother, grandmother, aunt, but older female. She wants me to talk about somebody actually being in school to teach school. So around you, Kelsey, who's like in school to learn how to be a teacher? Who's going to school to be a teacher? I feel like somebody's in school to be a teacher. So everybody else stop typing. I just need Kelsey you're a teacher. Okay, so Kelsey, can I ask you a question? Are you wanting to further further your education? Did something come up recently around you about wanting to take like more courses or something, or wanting to go to another level around teaching? Because if you're the teacher, the way that that would fit what I'm feeling, I am in my master's degree. Okay, that's it. All right, so she's telling me to highlight you. That's her way of saying hello to you, because she's telling me to talk about the person in teaching or the person going to school to teach. And hold on. Kelsey, who would be Betty or Elizabeth around you? She wants me to talk about Betty or Elizabeth. First name or middle name? I'm kind of going with Elizabeth, but Betty can be the name too. EL female, middle name. She had a niece, Elizabeth? Okay, hold on. And there's something around the 6th of a month that has a meaning too. She's being specific around the number. It's 6, but it's not the month of June. It's like 6th of a month. So May 6th, July 6th, June 6th, but she showed me 6 having a meaning. And I appreciate you guys following the rules on here. This is great. Just reading Kelsey at the moment. My dog, I used to also use his middle name, Elizabeth. Okay, that works. Because they're telling me to put it in the middle. And on that subject, well, first, but she hadn't met him. He passed. That's fine, because guess what that dog is now? Can I ask you a question? Who around you had like the like bullish looking dog, like like a pit bull or a bulldog, or like a boxer? Where would be the dog that looked like a bullish, like bulldog? And I still need the 6. She's telling me to talk about the 6th of a month or the number 6 having a meaning. And it doesn't have to be around you. It's just got to make sense. So if it's like a niece's birthday's on the 6th, I would take it. She showed me 6 having a meaning. And I'm seeing a very like bullish looking dog, like solid, but not very big, but solid. And that dog would have to be connected to the family somehow, not around her. My brother had a pit bull. Okay, and that dog has to be passed because she's making me feel like she's got the dog with her. And she's telling me to bring up Brian or Brandon. She showed me BR around a male also. Brian, Brandon, Brendan. Who would that be for you? I'm thinking about the 6. Okay, just write it down. Like 6 has a meaning. The number. Now, if somebody's currently 6 years old, because it's the number, I could take that too. So if you have like a niece or nephew or a kid that's 6, I could take that. But it's got to be actually 6, not going to be 6 or was 6. They have to be 6. Or an address 6 something away. Not the rest of the numbers, just the number 6. Because she's not letting me say June. She's telling me 6 has the meaning. So put it there, okay? If you can't think of it at the moment, that's fine. And on that side of the family, did anybody work with food? Kelsey, if she's talking about like that, that's mom's mom? Is that grandmother's mother's mother? Mom's mom? I know I'm jumping, I'm sorry. Both are passed, okay. They tell me to go to the side that work with food. Somebody worked with food. Somebody was in the food industry or owned a restaurant or they worked for a food company. But my grandma on my dad's side was who I was looking for. Okay. I know we're doing this through typing, so it's a little harder. Which is the side connected to food? My grandma worked for Frito-Lay. Okay. Now, is that the grandmother you wanted to connect with? That would be yes or no. Yeah, she showed me like working with food. Her husband worked for them. Okay. that fits the food feeling around the family. I just need to know which grandmother that is for you, the one that worked for food. Yes, but her husband was the one who worked for them. Okay. Oh, that's fine. That's okay. I understand what you're saying now. Her husband worked for Frito-Lay, but she showed me she was connected to the food. That's fine. It's kind of, it's their way of letting me know, like, oh, no, this is the one you're supposed to be talking to because it's the one connected to the food. And does that side have twins in the family too, Kelsey? She's telling me on that side of the family, so dad's side of the family, I guess, there's twins in that family. You're a twin. Okay. That's her way of saying hello to you, okay? She's like, talk about the twins, talk about the twins. She's got a very, I'm going to say her energy for me, clairsentient wise, feels caring, but don't push me. It's like, great lady, but can speak her mind when she needs to. So don't push her in the wrong direction. She's not one of those like pushover people, right? Does that make sense? She always was very caring. Great. But if somebody did something that wasn't right or not true, she's making me feel like she would say something or point it out. Yes, she was quiet, but spoke when needed. And just to validate what you're saying, how is she connected to Maria or Marie? Again, either first name or middle name, Maria. Her name was Mary. That's it, M-R. Okay, that's it. Just know that's her way of coming through to say hello, okay? And you need to somebody's getting something done around their eyes, or they're afraid of doing something around their eyes. She's making me feel like it's okay. So if you can validate that, there's a feeling of like somebody having to go for like an eye surgery, or they're thinking about an eye surgery, something around eyes that need to be dealt with, and she's making me feel like thumbs up around that. Would that make sense? And it feels kind of current, like somebody just talked about this. Somebody had a conversation around this, but she's making me feel like it's very current. My mom had surgery in her eye. I wear contacts, but my twin just tried out new type of lenses. Let's see. Is there a J or G name around the twin? Kelsey? About 2 days ago, she was asking me my thoughts on color lenses. That might be it. There's a J or G name connected to the twin. Jamie, her husband, that's it. Okay, so I can take the eye thing. I wasn't sure if that was it. Like, I was feeling like, but it felt like not serious. It felt like something that somebody was talking about, an issue around the eyes. And then you said it's around like your sister or the twin. And then they told me connects to the twin would be the J or G name. That's her husband, okay? So please know that that's your grandmother's way of coming through, okay? I hope this helped a little bit. And guys, this is how I kind of do, when I do my private readings, this is how it starts off. It starts off like very clinical, very like black and white, because I want to know who's holding the microphone. And then it kind of moves on from there in different directions. So I could have one person come through, I could have 10. It really depends on how things are being validated and how things make sense for you. So Kelsey, I hope this helped a little bit and made a difference, okay? Please know that she's okay, she's fine. Not that you were asking, but I always tell people, everybody always wants to know if they're okay. Does she have Milo? If Milo's passed, then the answer is yes. If I'm not getting Milo, that doesn't mean Milo's not there. It just means automatically anything that we were tethered to in this lifetime is on the other side, okay? You're welcome. Oh, is Milo Elizabeth? Then that's it. They were telling me Elizabeth, middle name. So if Ms. Elizabeth, the middle name of your dog, that was Milo, then the answer is yes, that dog's there. That's the whole reason why they brought it up that way, okay? Awesome. All right, guys, what I want to say real quick again, if you're interested in being part of my Zoom group, you know what? I'm just going to write this down. Hold on one second. Stan.store/ Oh, wait a minute. This is going to be backwards, isn't it? It's It's gonna be backwards. Hold on, let me just see if that's backwards. Yeah, it's backwards. So just put Stan, just put in your browser, just put stan.store/psychic Jonathan Lewis, okay? If you can't spell my name right, that's on you, just look it up. I think I have a few tickets left on my October Zoom group, that's it. The 2 Septembers are sold out. I have one on the 17th, I think, and one on the 23rd. If any of you were in there, I'll see you then. And then I have an October one. And then I think that's it for the year, all right? So otherwise, it's just private. So if you haven't gotten a seat or you've never been in one of my Zoom groups, I suggest you give it a try. I really do, okay? So again, stan.store/psychic Jonathan Lewis, and just look up the one. You can scroll and just look up the one that's still got a couple seats in it, okay? Awesome. I told you guys I'd be here Friday night at 10:30. I did it. I'm very happy that I pushed through and made this happen. I appreciate you being here tonight. I'm going to try, like I said, to go on here more often, all right? I don't know what night I can go on again, but I want to try to do it like random and just see how the numbers work, if you guys get notified or not, all right? And I'll do this more often. I like it here. And I appreciate you guys being here. So it's a Friday night. What are you doing home anyway? Oh, it's 11:30 on the East Coast. All right, that makes sense. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodnight. You guys have a great evening, and thanks for being here. Talk soon.